Good Friday morning. I'm meteorologist Byron Douglas on this October 10th. And we're here each weekday, Monday through Friday. Mitch will be along in a moment. Casey's helping out 14 News this evening. Should be down at the Fall Festival, but we're here on our streaming platforms. We're going to fast forward to the football forecast. This is one of the coolest Fridays we've had. We had some early in the season. We had that front work gone through, but dry out there, less breezy for the teams that like to throw a lot. No major crosswinds across the ball fields out there. You see that Nichols chance, that's for a sprinkle or two as we go through this evening. We'll be tracking some showers out to the west, but 57 there at the half, and then headed on home, you're looking at the mid to upper 50s during that time frame. Enjoy all the games. Of course, Max Parker, Aaron Hancock, and the sports team will have all the highlights for you. Nothing on Doppler radar. We will see increasing clouds as we go through the day. We've had some lightning up the line, Quincy, Illinois. In fact, back into Missouri. It's part of a line of showers, and these are flowing from the northwest to the south and east. Now, this rain will not get into our area across the Fall Festival, but we'll see an uptick in clouds as we go through this afternoon. Should see a lot of cirrus clouds out there, and then the clouds will lower tonight, but generally I'm not expecting much in the way of cloud layers below 10,000 feet. And they've had flooding concerns, especially down in South Carolina, Charleston, and those areas. Little disturbance down through Jacksonville. Had some flooded roadways there if you're doing any traveling. Let's run down our current temps. We'll take this full. Want to say good morning to some folks. Thanks for tuning in out there. Cheyenne, Jason, Lynn, Catherine, Barb. Hey, if you're watching us from afar, if you're on vacation, give me your name and town. We'll shout you guys out. And this is not a misprint. We have temps in the 40s. In fact, we dropped on the hourlies to 43, and the half hourlies down to 42. The last time we were in the lower 40s, you have to go way back to April 16th. We had some mornings in the mid to upper 40s back in May. So we're at 47. Jasper is currently at 43 under clear skies. We'll check the regional temps. Shout out to our friends in Chicago. They're at 54. Cubs are going to force a Game 5 against the Brewers. They tied that series yesterday. St. Louis at 56 and 48 in Lexington. Buffalo at 45. Des Moines with some cloud cover. You guys are at 59. Here's the cloud guidance. Will be interesting. You'll see we'll kind of flare up to generally more clouds than sunshine, but these are mainly cirrus clouds. So if you're down on West Franklin, won't block the sun too much. Maybe an hour or two where we'll have more clouds than sunshine, but overall increasing clouds. Love the cloud chart. Keep in mind what a value. You can get those wristbands, and you can ride there. All the rides open at 11 a.m. 63 during that time frame. So I had a jacket down there yesterday, but I was able to lose it pretty quickly during the afternoon. So we do have temps in the 40s, but they'll work into the upper 60s to near 70 during the afternoon. And if you're working outdoors, we'll take this full. Still got the fall harvest going on. 77 for both Saturday and Sunday. Bodes well for the Fall Festival Parade tomorrow at 4:30. We're looking forward to that. And let's take it to the hourlies now as we go hour by hour. The winds will be fairly light. We've had a few days or a few afternoons where the winds gusted up to 20. The arrows aren't moving a whole lot. They'll kind of pivot more to the southwest. So there's that cloud deck that cycles through during the afternoon. And then tonight could even have an hour or two where we go mostly cloudy and could even have a few sprinkles early. And then Saturday, I think we'll open up to a cloud deck, kind of partly sunny early, and those clouds will disperse fairly quickly by afternoon. And the parade starts at 4:30 on West Franklin. Shout out to the Grand Marshal, Mike Blake. He'll be the Grand Marshal. He was back in 1992. He's celebrating 55 years. A couple of nickels here at 14 WFIE. Looking good for Saturday and Sunday, and then into next week. Right now, the fronts will stay to our north and west, so we'll have temperatures about 80 to 82 into early next week. So the trend is to have temps above normal. So here's a look at the weekend. Last weekend, we had the matching 87s. We'll take this full. No alert days on the board. Of course, we had that record rainfall earlier in the week for October 7th. We had 2.34. All right. Yes, it's been cooler out there, Terry. Joe, good morning to you. Denise, thank you for the shout out. Jackie, Raina. Hope I got everyone's name in there correctly. And everyone, have a great day overall. That's a pretty nice 7-day, very October-like here in the short term. We'll talk to you soon. Mitch in a moment.
Stay informed on your local news and weather throughout the day by watching the 14 First Alert streaming shows. At 8:30 a.m., get your First Alert forecast to plan the day ahead and catch up on the news that happened overnight with the 14 News Sunrise team. In the afternoon, get the latest headlines, forecasts, and a preview of the stories we're working on with the 14 First Alert streaming show at 2:30. And get an in-depth look at the 14 First Alert forecast so you're ready for the next big thing with the 14 First Alert weather show at 9 p.m. Watch the 14 First Alert streaming show that fits your schedule and works best for you. Streaming on your phone by downloading the 14 News app and the 14 First Alert weather app. On your smart TV by using the 14 News streaming app. And stream anytime on Facebook, YouTube, or on 14news.com. Stay connected and stay informed by watching the 14 First Alert streaming shows on your favorite streaming devices.
Well, good morning and thanks for joining us here for the news portion of your 8:30 stream show. I'm Mitch Carter. Casey, once again, working the dayside shift there, joining all of you guys down there on West Franklin Street for the Fall Festival. So just myself and Byron here for the latter part of the week. Kicking things off here, we've got our breaking news we've been following all night, overnight here. Just after midnight this morning up in Michigan City, Indiana, the Indiana Supreme Court's order to execute Roy Lee Ward was carried out. Just over 30 minutes later, officials say he was dead. It all started, of course, over 24 years ago in July of 2001. That's when Ward raped and murdered 15-year-old Stacy Payne in Spencer County. Authorities say Ward pretended he was looking for a lost dog and convinced Payne to let him into her home. And state records show Ward then hit her with a 5-pound weight and stabbed her with a knife multiple times. But before today's execution, there has been a long history with this case. Back in 2002, Ward was found guilty of Payne's rape and murder and was then sentenced to death. However, that initial trial and conviction were overturned due to, quote, pre-trial publicity. Then in his second trial in 2007, Ward pleaded guilty once again to the rape and murder and was again sentenced to death. In 2012, Ward did have an execution date. It was set for December 11th. However, the courts put a stay on it, meaning it was delayed until further notice. Then in 2019, Ward filed a lawsuit to end the death penalty in Indiana. However, the state Supreme Court ruled against it, and that leads us up here to our past few months. In June, the state filed a motion to set an execution date. The Indiana Supreme Court then set today's date back in August. Since then, Ward's team had filed multiple motions to delay the execution or get it thrown out. However, each was denied or dropped, and it all ended with his execution early this morning. Now, following Ward's execution, 14 News received statements from both Governor Mike Braun and Attorney General Todd Rokita. Going to pull up Governor Braun's statement here. In it, he said that Ward's case had been heard numerous times in state and federal courts. However, Braun said each hearing has never resulted in an overturned sentence. The governor went on to say the state parole board gave a unanimous recommendation to deny Ward's final appeal, and his sentence was then, of course, carried out today. Meanwhile, Attorney General Rokita issued his statement shortly after. He praised the state Supreme Court and Governor Braun for putting the execution in motion. He also said, quote, "Today we honor Stacy Payne's memory and bring long-awaited closure to her family and loved ones." Rokita then went on to issue a warning, saying, quote, "Those who commit such heinous crimes will face the full weight of justice." And of course, while many were focused there on Ward and the execution, others were focused on the family and friends of his victim, Stacy Payne. Last night, a group in Spencer County gathered for a vigil in her honor, and while they asked us not to bring our cameras or conduct any interviews with those who attended, we did have a reporter there, and she described it as an emotional night with candles, prayers, songs, and shared scripture. Payne's family wasn't there, but they did share a statement for their pastor to read. They say they're ready to close this chapter out where they've had to relive Stacy's murder multiple times in court. They said they're excited now to turn to look at how Stacy lived and focus on what a beautiful, loving girl she was. We last heard from Stacy Payne's mother, Julie Winninger, at Ward's clemency hearing last month, and this is how she described her life over the past 24 years as she asked for the state not to grant that clemency.
What he did to our little girl is too unspeakable to even put into words, but burned into our memories. We ask that words didn't show that Stacy's life mattered, that justice will stand for the innocent, and that words heinous crime will not go unanswered.
Wittinger would then go on, of course, to thank the board and ask them not to grant clemency, which, as we now know, did not occur. Right now, it's 8:40 here on our Friday. Obviously, a bit of a darker, if you will, stream show than we're used to here. But of course, shifting gears here now. We've still got the Fall Festival going on right now on on Franklin Street there with the West Side Nut Club. As Byron just talked about in his forecast before this here, looking like a beautiful Friday into what should be a gorgeous weekend there. But of course, the ward execution was our pressing news this morning. We've been following that for, as you mentioned there, years now here at 14 News. As of right now, though, it is 8:40, coming up on 8:41. For those joining us this morning, we appreciate you. Thank you for hopping on and hanging out with myself and Byron here. Like I said here, we are wrapping things up at our end for the week here. But of course, please enjoy your Friday. Once again, enjoy the weekend. It should be great out there. We will see you back bright and early, myself and Casey rejoining me here on Sunrise on Monday morning. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you soon.